Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our session, The State of Reality. Here is our moderator, President and Executive Producer, Atlas Media, Bruce David Klein.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Welcome to the State of Reality, where we get into, to delve into some of the latest trends in reality television with those who are up to their necks in it. Today we have Sally Ann Salzano, President 495 Productions, Danny Fenton, CEO and Executive Chairman Zigzag Productions, Rob Chernow, SVP Nonfiction and Alternative Programming for A&E, Dom Ladogan, VP Original Programming and Series Development, E! Entertainment Television. I'm sorry I lost my voice last night. And Hans Schiff of CAA. Give a collective, yeah. We got the heavy hitters, so give them the applause they deserve. If the proverbial extraterrestrial landed on Earth, turned on the TV, and attempted to extract key insights into the human condition by watching the latest hits on reality television, what would his conclusions be? Well, a group of humans classified as housewives spend an awful lot of time yelling at other humans classified as housewives. Young humans from a land called Jersey hydrate their bodies with a curious liquid that conjures up aggressive behavior and powerful sexual impulses. And a much higher percentage of the human population is overweight, extremely short, loud, angry, tattooed, big-breasted, and greedy than would otherwise be predicted by the standard distribution curve. And finally, of course, we all eat a hell of a lot of cake. So from the kids of Jersey Shore to Keeping Up with the Kardashians, from Storage Wars to Pawn Stars to Cake Boss, this is the state of reality today. In this panel, we're going to take a look at some of the latest reality hits and try to extract insights into what's working and why. Much like music and fashion, the tastes of TV audiences are fickle and come in waves. As creators, how can we catch the waves? Or is it just luck? So we also have some clips that we're going to weave in, and we'll have some questions at the end. So I'm going to start with Sally Ann. Let's start with the phenomenon known as Jersey Shore. Lots of docu-soaps have colorful characters who drink and fight and have sex and get into all kinds of trouble. Why did this group on this show break out at this time the way it did?
I think because they're one of the most honest groups. I think, first of all, they're one of the most honest groups, and also they don't apologize for it the next day. The thing that I love about my cast, and it's a relatability factor, for anyone that's from the East Coast, when everyone says, that's not real, that's not what it's like, everyone gets insane. I'm from there, I lived it, that is how they are. And so for me, it's watching people in their natural environment and letting them be who they are and not having them apologize for it tomorrow. Like, I've done so many shows where the next day the girls are crying and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. These kids are like, well, that was fucked up, moving on. And we just go on to the next day. You know, and I think that is a testament to who they are. And it's kind of like how I run my company, and the same thing. It's like you have to make the best decision you can at the time, and then you just have to roll with it. You know, I think anyone can Monday morning quarterback anything, life in general, and these kids just don't do it. Nor do you. No, nor do I. They call it crazy. You know, people call it crazy. We call it Monday morning. Like, it doesn't matter. Those kids just do what they want to do.
So there's nothing going on in the culture today that connected. It was just this like rare lightning in a bottle of these 5 or 7 people who connected, and the sum was more than its parts. And
I think reality was getting to a place where people were thinking that this is what they want, this is what people want to see, this is what the network wants, this is what I need to do to sell a show, rather than this is what's real. And I think we've all probably up here have gotten back to the place where if it's really going to happen, it's going to happen, and that makes the show. I always say, like, in a docu-soap format, if I present to you, this is my 10-episode outline, that's a great exercise, but the truth of the matter is, if I come back with that, I've failed. Because the thing is, you want to say, remember when I thought that was going to happen? Well, I'm 4 states away, 3 people are in jail, 1 person's pregnant, this is insane. But that's really what happened. And I think it's a matter of embracing the story and not being afraid to just follow who the characters are.
Was there a single frozen moment in time while you were shooting that you said, oh, this is really gelling, this is something special here?
Well, for me, it was the first time the kids all got together, because I grew up in that environment, and I did have a summer share house much before there was Facebook and everything else. So you would show up and be like, come on, Snake Eyes, and you really hoped that the people in your house were hot, cool, people you wanted to hang out with. And in this case, these kids had the same thing. And the first night when they were in the house and it got crazy, it literally reminded me of my summer share house, and I'm like, if 50% of the stuff goes down that went down when I was here, we're good times. And also, because a lot of my staff, not being from the East Coast, was there, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. And what I felt like I was doing was just highlighting a subculture that a lot of people haven't seen. And I think that's what it is in reality TV. I think everyone up here has tapped into something that people are like, oh my God, I didn't even know that existed, and then they're watching it.
That was not the surfer dude culture.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like,
not
there's
it.
no doubt. All right, well, I think we have a clip. So I'm going to ask another question. I know it takes you 10 seconds to get the clip going. One of the things I was going to talk about is the challenges of keeping a docu-soap like that fresh. But I know today you announced the whole, they're going to Italy.
We are.
So how do you keep it fresh, and how does Italy tie into that?
Well, it's actually kind of a natural thing for us to go to Italy, because that was a basis on our show. Like, we got so much press from the Italian community, if you will. And basically, I think that it's true to their roots. Like, Vinny goes there all the time. His family's from there. Our girls are looking for a real Italian guy, so let's bring him to the source. And I think it, like, kind of makes sense. I think it's the next evolution. Like, we went to Miami last year. That made sense, because the mentality here was very much the clubbing mentality that they were used to. And now we're going to go see that abroad.
I got to give you a warning. We sent the Gottis to Italy in our final season. Didn't work out. So I think Jersey is the place for Jersey Shore, or Miami, but I wish you luck in Italy.
I think it's going to be interesting.
All right.
And that's the thing. What I believe with those kids, and like, you know, everyone will throw it in my face if I'm wrong, but in the end, I would watch those kids in a barn. Like, there are times that I get nervous, like, oh my God, it was the beginning of this season. I remember I didn't sleep for 4 nights before the season started, and I was so insane. And everyone's like, what's the matter? I'm like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do now? We were in the house 4 hours later. You know, JWoww's punching Sammy in the face, and I was like, and we're back. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't predict it, and that's the thing with the show. Everyone's like, I don't put those kids on ice. They call me, and they're like, I broke up with Ronnie. I broke up with this one. We got into a fight, and it's like, I'm just pissed I'm not rolling all the time, because I can't slow them down.
Do you need to set up the clip, or it speaks for itself, as I'm assuming it does?
I think it's just a highlight reel of our friends.
Let's roll it.
All right, we got a situation.
I love Guidos. Let's go.
Kim Tan Logic.
Here's a shot at
This
love.
is the wrong
This is the
one.
first show of
This
its
is the wrong
kind. I'm a bisexual. I'm Marissa Jarrett Winokur, and this is Dance Your Ass Off.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Tool Academy.
Those are hidden cameras.
You're on Disaster Day.
David, you are HGTV's new design star. Kim, Jennifer, Antonio.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
I don't think love's just for skinny people. It's for big people, too.
We're live, and this is Nashville Star. It's a big one right here. Jersey Shore! Jersey Shore!
Get in your fucking bed!
You put all of us together, it's gonna be crazy.
That's what I heard! Come on!
Pretty much every night, it's a party. Better buckle yourself in.
Where's the bitch?
Nicole!
T-shirt time.
Fucking so much fucking back.
The dynamic definitely has changed. You know, it's not one big happy family anymore.
Really? Let's be
That's one shot. That's one shot, kid.
You bloody ass bitch!
Bro.
I'm single. You know, I do whatever I want.
I'm sorry for the next bitch you fucking take over. I hate you! Ew, get the fuck off my arm.
You're talking to a police
officer like that. I don't care. I'm a fucking good person. Think she could be afraid though? Oh, shit.
Okay, that was actually not the right clip, but I'm happy to see that the Farmingdale DNA is throughout all your shows.
That's it. It is what it is.
Long Island live. Now, obviously, there's always a lot of discussion about how important is the right show versus the right show on the right network. And I know that E had experimented with some Jersey Shore kind of stuff. And you know, I guess the question is, would Jersey Shore be as big on an E, on an A&E? Would you guys run it? Would it fit the brand, and would it do well?
I mean, it's a really interesting question that has a lot of history and backstory, some of which I can share, some of which I can't. I think Jersey Shore happened on the exact right network at the exact right time. You know, we tried our hand at a special before Jersey Shore launched on MTV, and it, you know, it did well, it did fine. It's hard to launch a special the way you launch a series. I mean, one's a, you know, full court blowout, and the other is a special. I don't think that it would have done as well on E. I think there's parts of our brand that's just incongruous with, and we couldn't have fully embraced it because of that. So.
They could have driven Rolls Royces instead of Chevys, or no, it still wouldn't have worked.
Well, maybe. I mean, they'd have to, honestly, they'd have to have a lot of money, and they'd have to have a lot of spectacle and material things. I mean, Jersey Shore is all spectacle in all the right ways, but I'm talking about material ways. So I think
What say you share now?
I think it absolutely would have worked on E. And I think it would have worked on, I mean, it's a great show. And I do, you know, we take great pride in having planted a little bit of a seed with Growing Up Gotti, which, you know, Frankie Carmine and John Gotti had a lot of similarities with the guys you see on Jersey Shore. And, you know, I do think we had a massive success with it at the time. And I think Sally Ann's show evolves and explores that culture even more deeply in a different way. But I absolutely think, you know, great shows get watched. You know, I'm not as much of a network brand guy as I should be in my position, but I truly think that is a show, you know, the time was right and the audience would have come wherever it was. I truly believe that.
And broadening it out for Hans and Danny from the British side and also just from the agency side, what effect has Jersey Shore had in terms of the needs of networks and what you're feeling out there in terms of network needs?
I think that the most amazing thing that we've all learned from Jersey Shore is how big a series can get on any platform. And I think that, you know, you've broken records, and I think everybody's woken up and looked at the ratings and gone, oh, wait, on cable? This is unbelievable.
Oh, we do the same thing.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
And you know, more power to you. I think it's awesome, and I think it sets the bar, and I think it makes you know, producers wake up in the morning and go, I want one of those. So I think it's great for the business. I think it's great for the cable landscape, and I think it you know, to answer or to speak a little bit about the notion as to whether or not, you know, it would work on any network. I think absolutely, and I think that it's, you know, it's a clarion to executives to, you know, read their brief, figure out where they want to go, but always be open to hearing a great show from a great producer, because none of us really know, and you know, if we stick by the script, we'll miss these.
And in terms of, is Jersey Shore airing in the UK?
Yeah, it does air in the UK.
And what has been the reaction to Jersey Shore in the UK?
It's seen as a success in the UK as well. I mean, I think having a transatlantic view, both having a presence in the UK and the US, it's interesting to see both sides' reaction. And I think, you know, casting is always key on these shows, but even to a UK audience, people relate to the characters in Jersey Shore. You know, they're very iconic characters. And, you know, in the UK, we've got a show at the moment called The Only Way is Essex, and the people from Essex are very much like the people from Jersey Shore. So, you know, for quite a while, I think people have thought that in certain areas, the US has taken its lead from the UK in reality. But I think there's, you know, it's a two-way street, and certainly shows like Jersey Shore, not only do they resonate with the UK audience, but also I think what we're seeing at the moment is, both in the UK and the US, a certain exhaustion with celebrities, kind of established celebrities, and an appetite and a hunger to create new celebrities. And, you know, the Jersey Shore characters are as well known in the UK as they are in the US, and, you know, the characters in our show in the UK, The Only Way is Essex, are now the fodder of gossip magazines and celebrity magazines, because, you know, people want to see new characters. And I suppose the same, you know, with the Kardashians, you know, that really, they're very well known in the UK, and they've been created by, you know, by E.
But it's also like who's relatable. Like that's the thing. I think that a lot of people think like they're fictitious characters and oh my God, what's going to be my replacement? Like if I'm putting together a new show, like what's my Snooki? Who's my Situation? Who's my Pauly D? And I think that's the biggest mistake you can make. I think that like everybody trying to replicate everything. Like I was saying, there's so many times, well, I'll get the call, I was telling Dom, like I get the call of like, so we're looking for 4 sisters. I'm like, let me guess, mom's name is Chris. They have long black hair. You know what I mean? Like everyone wants their piece of it, but I think the one thing that we can't be afraid of, and listen, every swing you take can't be a hit out of the park, whether you're a producer or a network executive, but I think you just have to be given the opportunity to take the swing. And that's the one thing I'm grateful for, and that I feel like is so lucky, is that someone gave me the opportunity to take the swing. I mean, we got to a place where it was just like, just give me the fucking money for casting. Like, you know what I mean? Let me cast it and then tell me no. You know, and we came back with a cast, and I'm like, if it doesn't work, then we don't do it, but you don't know until you have it. And I think sometimes the casting process, people don't want to waste the money on in reality TV. Like, well, bring me a reel. Okay, well, those reels take $200,000 to make. Sorry, I'm not just going to spend that. If you think it's good, let's shake on it. Let me go find these guys and bring them back. And I was given the opportunity to do that. And I think that that set the tone. That was one of the first times, it was the first time in my career I was given the chance to do that.
Yeah, I know for years it was Dog, your show, where it was, you know, find me the next dog. And whenever somebody asked me that, I said, you know, the next dog is not a dog. I didn't even know if it's an animal. Like, you know, and I think that kind of narrow thinking can really box you in, and it does. A lot of production companies make a lot of money, quite frankly, just, you know, oh, we want that, let's put it together, let's do that. But I think for long-term hits, it comes out of where you least expect it, and certainly, you know, Jersey Shore is a great example of that. I want to turn to another huge programming trend, the stuff trend. Pawnbrokers who want to sell stuff, auctioneers who want to auction it off, everyday people who are doomed to live and wallow in it, pawn stars, hardcore pawn, hoarders, hoarding buried alive. In past years, there have been tons of auction shows, collectible shows, obsessive collector shows. Why, right now, are viewers suddenly addicted to this kind of material? Is it a recession thing? What are we thinking? Why now?
Characters. It's casting.
Well, but there were characters, you know, years ago there have been collectible shows and that kind of
those
thing.
Those sexy guys from Antiques Roadshow, the twins.
Yeah, they were great. I mean, I just
yeah.
loved watching them. No, I mean, I think it's the characters. I think it's, you know, it's a producer's art. It's going out and finding characters that really, really resonate. You know, Pawn Stars showed us how to watch that type of show. They got the format just right. There's enough bandwidth in the marketplace to have a few copycats that are good, as long as the casting's great. I don't think it's the precinct that matters, really. I don't think it's the fact that you're buying and selling things. I think it's the fact that they're compelling characters that allow you to, you know, find great stories. I mean, it's all about the characters.
I think it speaks to the decay of reality television. I mean, like, I think reality television is in a horrible place right now. It's in the great place, but it's in a horrible, 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 shitty, smelly, decaying
I was
place.
waiting for an astounding statement out of you.
Because, no, seriously. And not for the reason you think. I love trashy shows. I think it's great. But I think the more to the point is, there are all these shows out there because reality is now the predominant genre. And, like, I hate this panel. I really hate it because, you know, to me, it's offensive in some ways.
He says that on every panel.
I do. No,
every panel.
Well, we're always on the same friggin' panel together.
Still invite him back.
You know, all right.
So bitchy.
Fuck you. So like, I only did one bit of research. I never do research for these panels, but I did one bit of research. So there were 850 primetime series measured by Nielsen last year. How many were nonfiction? What percent? Anyone?
50.
Anyone? Guess? 78. 78. So it's like the state of reality. We've got our little afternoon panel at NATPE to talk about this, all of television, basically. So I struggle a little bit with the whole concept of, okay, let's get together and I'll talk about Beyond Security.
When you do your panel next week,
you're gonna you're
gonna crash it.
No, I love the panel, but it's also, I do think, like, there's just so much of it. Like, why are there so many pawn shows? Like, we launched Storage Wars, and there are 4 other auction shows come out at the same moment.
But that's fine. But it has to start from somewhere. There is a zeitgeist in a country where it just suddenly there's a vibe.
On that point, I mean, what's fascinating to me, seeing both sides of the pond, is we don't have any character-driven docu-soap series in the UK. And for me, coming here and selling into the US, it's almost predominantly who's the character, what's the family, what's the business, what's the setup. And so on that side of things, yes, we watch shows like Jersey Shore, but we don't have the appetite for, you know, the porn stars type shows. In fact, the funny thing for me is 10 years ago, which is pretty much the first time I came pitching in the States, and I went to a panel, and somebody from A&E got up and said, we've reinvented reality television. And they basically bought the concept of the show Airline from the UK, which was a docusoap about an airline. And I remember thinking at the time, wow, this is not reinventing television. We've been doing this for years. But it's strange how now the trend really in America is find characters and make them the main focus, whereas probably the difference in the UK market is still people are trying to think up overly clever formats for reality.
I think that, you know, reality television is a bit like the cockroach. It will constantly be there, and, you know, to your point, we're watching
cockroaches.
That's all right. They're an amazing animal. It will always be there because, you know, as soon as we, you know, burn through this genre, if you will, we'll find another one, and we've seen the trends, you know, over and over and over again.
Like as a person that makes reality TV, when people shit on it, I'm like, go for it, whatever. I don't really give a shit. But here's what I have to say: I love it. As a viewer, I don't care about anything but what I want to watch. When I come home at night, I do watch the Kardashians, I do watch Storage Wars. Those sister wives, I would give a fucking limb to have dinner with them. Like, I'm dying. Like, at the end of the day, it's about what people want to watch. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't, change your channel. There's so many networks and there's so much stuff. Again, please watch my shows. But that being said, like, you can't get mad about it. And if all of us up here knew what the next hit was, then all we would do is make hits.
But I think it's a dangerous place. I do think, like you say, bring it on, the more the merrier. I think that reality television is becoming so predominant. It's almost like sitcoms in the 80s, where, like, you ask me why there's so many, like, auction shows. It's like, yeah, there's one huge auction show and everyone followed. And, like, when Friends came out, everyone had their little Friends knockoff show, and the sitcom died, and now there aren't any, or there are very few. And I do fear a little bit that's what's going on. It's a copycat, you know, we're in a copycat time in reality.
But that's the thing. That's where, like, we have to come up with the crazy ideas, and then you guys have to be the ones to be like, I don't know, come on, Snake Eyes, and roll the dice. And that's what's hard. Yeah, you want to go? Yeah. No, but, like, at the end of the day, that's the thing, and that's what's hard for all of us with our bosses is, like, sometimes we want to try the next big thing, and we just can't. Yeah. Like, all of us answer to someone, so you don't know. The next Jersey Shore could have been shit on by a network. You don't know, and only because, like, what if Ad Sales doesn't want it? What if this doesn't want it? And all those things are real. But in the end, it can get in the way. Like, you know, Jersey Shore, everyone, you know, talks about this big launch and everything that we have in season 2 and in season 3. In season 1, the only thing was Italians hate us, this is racist, Domino's wants out. That was my launch. You know what I mean? And, like, the last day of production, I laid out $7,500 to get, like, photo shots taken of my kids. Like, it wasn't like there was billboards everywhere. So it's about, like, taking the swing, embracing it, and going. But it's getting the swing. You guys need the opportunity to get the swing, and we need the opportunity to get that swing.
But we'll always reinvent it. That's the whole point.
You have to try
if what we're seeing today, you know, as it inevitably will, you know, starts to get long in the tooth, something else will come along.
I mean, reality in the UK right now is sticking as many cameras in a place as possible and filming a documentary, but with 72 fixed cameras. So whether it be a hospital or a police station or I mean, I think Lifetime are now doing One Born Every Minute, but that's the trend that you're seeing in the UK in reality. Is just take old documentary subjects and shoot the fuck out of them.
Right.
Now these things.
To your point, I think there does have to be something that sparks the trend, you know. And for these kinds of shows, I think part of it is the economy. Like, watching someone make an $800 profit on a storage unit means more now than it did 5 years ago. And I think, you know, because of that. Some trends are started because of something in our culture. Some trends are started because someone had a great idea and everyone else is following.
Do you deny that, Rob?
No, it's undoubtedly true, but I think reality television reflects culture because it is popular culture now. And I just wrestle with the idea of, like, oh, well, you know, of course it does. It's exactly what should happen with great product.
It is amazing if you look at kind of a list of what's reality become, talking about 75% or whatever, just the genres within reality of, documentary style, special living environments, professional documentary competition shows, self-improvement like Biggest Loser, social experiment shows like Wife Swap. You have dating like Bachelor, hidden cameras, job search stuff, renovation, extreme makeover. I mean, it's pretty incredible in 10 years, the subsets of reality.
But that's what we do in our everyday life. Every American deals with that every day. So it's about, like you guys are saying, it's about taking what people are doing and kind of highlighting it.
And I think there is a cycle that inevitably comes. I know that right now, many networks are saying, pitch us everything but competition reality. We don't want to see. It might be different for the broadcast networks, but I think on cable, why is that? Is it that a couple of high-profile things have bombed, it doesn't work, people aren't interested in as manipulated reality as they might have a couple of years ago? Silence.
I think it's probably because the shows blow and no one wants to watch them. I mean, I think like all the trend analysis is like, yeah, it's it's
20/20 hindsight.
Yeah, things are trending until it's not, and like.
But I pay my lighting bills on the trends. I need to know what the trend is in 6 months so that I can sell stuff, because how many times have I come with, 10 amazing projects and it's like, well, we're really looking for this now. That's the life of a producer, independent producer.
You got to make the trends.
Just happens. We're going to do that.
I agree with Hans for a change.
Let's talk a little bit about what we can learn from recent shows that haven't connected. And this is not to get back at Rob, but no, I know. Congratulations on Heavy. Highly promoted shows like Fairy Job Mother, Bridal Plasty, I know is one that was kind of a big risk at that time, as well as a lot of very high-profile celebrity docu-soaps from Hasselhoff as an example. Are there any lessons here, or is kind of the world just cruel and random and it just picks and doesn't pick other things?
Well, I can speak to sort of the celebrity docu-soaps. I mean, as you can imagine, we get pitched left and right, almost every celebrity you could think of, every notable. And, the lesson certainly learned by the Kardashians is if you're going to ask the viewer to bother to watch your show, you better bring it. And it doesn't really matter who you are. You could be an A-list celebrity. If you're not going to be, sorry, I have a cold, so I'm going to sneeze on all of you at some point, sorry. If you're not going to be an active participant in your own show and you're going to lock the door on this little part of your life, and I'm dating someone, I don't want that in the show, and it was a scandal a year ago, but I don't want to talk about that. Pretty soon you're so locked in, there's no story. And, the viewer is watching, people go full on Jersey Shore and on other shows, and why would they watch your show if you're not really going to bring it? And that's what I always try to say in pitches is like, if there's a story breaking on E! News about you and something that's going on and it's not reflected in the show, that disconnect is going to kill your show, and the viewer's going to smell it a mile away.
And kill your likability, because if you're not real.
Is there a takeaway of Bridal Plasty? For those who don't know, that's women who compete, I guess it was 3 months before their marriage, for plastic surgery. The winner each week gets a different kind of plastic surgery, and the reveal at the end is that the husband does not see her until the vows are taken, when the veil is lifted and he sees his new wife with many years of plastic surgery done in 3 months.
I mean, I think, one of the takeaways for us on the programming and strategy side is you really have to have a programming strategy that's built to launch our elimination shows. And we don't. We really don't have any. This was the first one we've tried in a long time. And if you don't have that expectation from the viewer, really, really hard to launch. It's hard to message. I mean, we had it Sundays at 9, which is, we've never had anything Sundays at 9. I mean, it was, a valiant effort, and where else would we put it? But, it's not like you have a great elimination show leading into it, so you have a viewer that already is an elimination fan going into it. And for us, it took a long time to try to find an elimination concept to launch, because so many of our competitors have been doing it so well for so long. Everything we heard was derivative. And that, what's the point of that? So this was a concept we thought, all right, it's loud, it cuts through the clutter, not derivative, and it takes two genres that, do very well for us. Plastic surgery and weight loss just very well for everybody. And wedding, and combines and smashes them all together. And if we're gonna try it, let's try it. And we did, and we learned a lot of lessons, and I'm not saying we'll never do it again. We may, but certainly with caution.
in terms of the celebrity docu-soaps, I mean, is the business model there for networks essentially, you know, we'll keep trying until, you know, we might try 3 and one's going to hit it out of the park, or 5 and one's going to hit it out of the park, because obviously they're more expensive and, you know, longer deals to close and sometimes more labor to get them to a point. But is it good to be in the Hasselhoff and that kind of docu-soap business?
It's good when
If
it
it's a
works.
hit. I knew
It's good when it works. I mean, it's bad when it
doesn't.
doesn't. It's an obvious question. I mean, like, it's, you know, it's a weird question because, you know, I do think it's cyclical. I think, yeah, we haven't had such great success with celebrity stuff lately, but that doesn't mean that one won't work when the right one comes along. And I think it's for all the reasons you were discussing. It has to be authentic or whatever, but I don't think that there's ever a time where it's just like, oh, that's done. It's never coming back, and the audience just doesn't want that anymore. But I do think it's a lesson in the audience. You know, the scary, exciting thrill of the job is like the audience knows what they want implicitly. So like the examples you gave, we launched a bunch of celebrity docuseries with big marketing campaigns, and guess what? No one showed up. And then we launched Beyond Scared Straight recently with basically no marketing campaign at all, and it premiered as the highest rated show we've ever broadcast in the history of the network. And you sit there as a, you know, at the network and say, how does this happen? You spend millions of dollars marketing this show, and you cannot beg someone to come. And then this show, you don't really spend anything, and it doesn't get any attention, and everyone comes. And that's cool. I like that because, you know, we're a broadcast medium, and people know what they want to see.
I know we're going to, in about 2 minutes, have questions, so I don't know wherever you need to go to ask those. Danny, are there any recent kind of British trends that you hope make it across the pond?
Well, the multi-camera thing is making it across the pond. I mean, the thing I would say about the trends in reality, both probably here and in the UK, people want uplifting shows. So I think, you know, reasons why some of the auction shows are popular is because people feel a positive vibe from them. I think shows where we're creating celebrities that people can champion and feel like they have some kind of ownership of them. And in the UK right now, you're seeing more shows where celebrities are exposing themselves to appear to be more real. So, I mean, we've got a show. The clip I brought is a show called Back on the Job, which is big-name celebrities big-name celebrities going back to do the jobs they did before they were famous. So it makes them feel more relatable.
Do we have that queued up? Back to the Job?
6 in the morning, and for the first time in 17 years, Christian is reporting for work at the Winchester Refuse Depot.
I think there's a real part of me that wants to go.
Is it a radio show? Radio show?
It's radio, yeah.
That's the next trend.
17 years to the job where I was humiliated, I was abused, thinking that now, as a breakfast show presenter, Mr. Breakfast can win them over and make them like me.
Morning, guys. Christian, you prick.
Yes, he's back with his mates on the pit.
Yeah, a little taste. But basically, he's a top radio DJ who went back to his job working on the garbage trucks. It was a feel-good show, and it helps him relate to where he came from. And there's another show that's been on Channel 4 recently called The House That I Grew Up In, where celebrities go back and tell the stories of their lives through the houses that they lived in. I suppose all of these are trends away from, that have come off the back of Who Do You Think You Are as well. So people care about celebrities if they feel real and approachable. And I think that's a kind of a trend that you're seeing from the UK.
Do we have any questions geared up while they're getting everybody ready? Damla, with E, how do you kind of simultaneously embrace the great success of the hubs of like Girls Next Door, Kendra, and Kardashians, and not become the all Kardashians all the time? I know you try to branch out, but you keep getting kind of sucked back in because the heroin is so good.
The morphine drip.
Yeah.
You just keep developing. You keep developing within shows, A, that fit your brand, B, that you just like. And you'll find it. Eventually, you will find it. That's what I think.
Okay, question right here.
I've got a loud voice, I'll speak up.
I think we have a man with a microphone coming.
I have two short questions. The first is, does the word voyeur have any meaning anymore? And two, is there a premise for a reality show which is not illegal, but impossible? That is so offensive that you couldn't do it. So is there a definition anymore of the word voyeur? And is there a premise for reality show that's just too offensive to do?
I mean,
I don't think anything's too offensive, personally, but that's just me.
I got a pitch for like a pet plastic surgery show once that I just couldn't stomach. I suppose it wouldn't be illegal, but I mean, to me, it just sort of seemed like, you know, you're putting these poor pets through something that they actually didn't sign up for.
So the fact that women would stand together to get plastic surgery for a wedding is less offensive than a dog getting plastic.
The dog doesn't have a choice.
Yeah,
The woman could say, I'm not coming, and not show up to your shoot. The dog, I'm going to deliver it there and put it under the knife.
And as far as voyeurism is concerned, voyeurism has more meaning now than ever, clearly, because
it's called reality TV audience.
He says to you, if something is happening in your life and you're on camera and you don't share it with us and it shows up in E-News, you're not coming forth, you're not showing everything. So is that not a sense, the old word voyeur means snooping into people's lives? The deal now is people are happy participants in it.
right, but that doesn't mean it's not voyeurism. That is voyeurism. It's just people are digging it now. or admitting that they like it.
Right.
And, you know, I think that a lot of people are very moral and say, oh, this is offensive, this is disgusting, and then 10 million of them watch Jersey Shore and
Do you
love
think
it.
it's the same people who say this is offensive who are watching it?
Absolutely.
It's like the
You know
Howard.
that for a fact.
That's like the
Your
Howard.
audience research has proved that to you.
I mean, you know, look at the audiences for the other shows. It's, you know, that's, the audience
Add 'em all
goes
up.
where it wants to go. No one's forcing them to watch any of it. You know, that's a big part
It's
of
like the Howard Stern model from years ago. The average person who loves Howard Stern listens for 15 minutes a day. The person who hates it listens for 2 hours. Do the math. It is what it is. Like, you know what? People just don't want to admit it. That's what I think.
500 channels is a lot of channels, a lot of choice. Watch sports.
Thank you, panelists. I have two questions. One is in the beginning makeup of budgeting for these films, and you're negotiating for points for yourselves with the network. How do you work the character-driven participants in your shows into the budget? How are they represented legally for, you know, Dirtiest Jobs, or, you know, Swamp People, or Jersey Shore, or something with a little more integrity? How are these people, how are they paid in the beginning? How do you negotiate with, are they just doing it for PR, for shits and giggles? Or how do you work these people into your budget? Is my first question.
The Swamp People are very difficult to deal with.
Tough agents.
Yeah, tough agents. Yeah.
I mean, it's the market speaks, gives you a basic, you know, round number for what somebody is worth. If they are, you know, a swamp person and, you know, would never otherwise be on television except for the fact that a producer found them, they're going to be worth X. If it's a big celebrity, then, you know, somebody like me gets in there and, you know, gets a big number. You know, the legal side of it is, you know, if somebody will sign a contract and, you know, is smart and reads it, then everybody's a consenting
what is the
adult.
bottom line for you know, Deliverance meets the Twilight Zone, Swamp People, for example? Like, how much would somebody get paid?
There's not like a
There's
flow
not.
chart.
Yeah.
It's like, it's...
I know, but can we have like a concrete example?
It goes from like nothing to the sky's the limit, $200,000 an episode. So like literally there are top-rated shows where literally the participants get nothing. $0 because that's the deal. And then there are those that get $200,000 an episode.
Remember as well,
can
these...
they renegotiate later for rights?
You can always renegotiate.
Remember as well, these deals, I think, have become increasingly complex, especially in the last couple of years, with things like options and how long it goes and how long you tie them up, and merchandising. It gets particularly a little wild when the person has like a successful business where, you know, do you get a piece of the business in terms of if it explodes after the show hits? You also get into issues with background checks, and some networks are now requiring 2 and 3 separate companies to background check each individual reality star. And that's lovely. As long as they pay for it, we really have no problem with that.
Question before I pass the mic is, do any of you, or individually or representing your companies and your networks, feel a sense of social responsibility to America on a large scale for our public perception in the international community, for the kind of respect that could be garnered from this kind of voyeuristic lifestyles and down market playing, and kind of sometimes accused of insulting the American audience?
Again, I think I'll answer that. I don't think there's any greater social value to your average network drama or sitcom. 2.5 Men, CSI, great shows, but it's not like that has any more social value or presents a sunnier picture of America than Intervention or Beyond, any of our shows. Like, I truly believe that. And, you know, I do think that there is an inherent bias against reality shows. I think a lot of our shows do perform a social service, and there's a real part of our programming is that model, but I don't think it needs to have that to sort of, and I don't think it reflects any worse than any of the shows about murderers all over the country, or like your average dumb sitcom where they're just making fart jokes, and like that's not, that doesn't speak for America any better than most of the reality television you see out there.
And also, it is like people do look down on us, and it is like we're the scabs of the industry. That being said, when President Obama is standing there in his State of the Union address talking about Snooki and tanning, that's the bigger issue. You know what I mean? Like, what am I to blame? You know, it's like, it is part of the culture, and it's something that we're all embracing. And I think that if you look at any reality show, you can say this is why it's bad. But I could sit here and I would defend to my death why Jersey Shore is good. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that come out of that show. You see a sense of family. You see kids going through struggles. You know, like, I think there is a lot of good that comes out of it. And also you learn a lot of what not to do maybe by watching a show. But in the end, it's watching real people in a real environment doing what they do. I'm not a person who says what other people is doing is wrong. I'm not going to tell you I don't like your shirt. I might think it. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that just let people be the judge for themselves.
But it also reminds me, it's sort of like, it reminds me of like 50 years ago that when they were talking about rock and roll and like American rock and roll going all over the world. And, you know, I think that, yeah, I do think there's a spectrum of reality television. There's some really awful stuff out there. I think there is some amazing stuff. I truly believe that the best,
space.
Yeah, I think the best television being made, the most socially responsible television being made is being made in reality. I think there's some terrible stuff that's terribly irresponsible, but I think there's some amazing stuff also. And I think it's a spectrum. I really do.
We are not diplomats.
We're not diplomats.
Hi, guys, and thanks for taking all this. Question is, if Jersey Shore could have worked on E, A&E, other networks, if Pawn Stars is getting as good a rating on Lifetime as it is getting on History, what does this do to brands? And what does this do to the way you guys pitch yourselves to advertisers? How does this change the business model?
It's a challenging time, and I think I do think I'm going to contradict myself, because I do think E has a clear brand. I think MTV has a clear brand. I think A&E has a clear brand, and you would not see the exact same show exactly on either network. Very different question than could it work? It could work, and it would change the network. That doesn't mean the network doesn't have an identity. And I do think network identities are important. I think when people come to the network of Intervention, they expect to see a very sober, serious, socially responsible show that's done in a certain way. When they go to a different, VH1, and it's and it's Surreal House or Surreal Life, they're not going for the same thing. They expect different things from those brands. Not making a value judgment on either one. People go to different things at different times. But I do think brands absolutely, in some ways, they're more important in the clutter I want to go to History Channel to get my Pawn Stars and American Pickers and that kind of thing, and I know they do it really well. So I think it's important.
I think the brand is most relevant to the advertiser. It tries to, give a structure to somebody who needs to try to place their bets, and everybody does the best job they can. But the truth of the matter is, the audience will find what they like, no matter where it is. If the network gives it to them and they like it, they'll go there. So,
and I think the history really proves that a network's brand very often is created by its hit show.
That's true.
Network is looking. They find their hit show, and they kind of build around that. And that happens quite often. We have another question up in the front here. Okay, we have, while we see if we have a couple more minutes, if we want to show the last demo. Whose didn't we see?
Wait, someone did have it.
I think someone
one more question? Okay. Yes. Let her rip.
I watch a lot of reality television.
Yay!
A lot, yeah, fan.
Oh, yay.
And I think one of the worst things that one of the characters can be called is fake. Nobody wants to be fake, but
Nothing is fake in reality
it's all
television.
real. That's why we call it reality.
But these shows often change the lives of the characters so much, like Jersey Shore. From season 1 to now, their lives have been completely transformed. How do you keep that authenticity that draws audiences, but evolve the show so that you're not pretending that isn't happening?
I think for me, I don't treat them any differently. To me, they all still live in their mom's houses. They all still live in their basements. Their mother's still doing their laundry. 18 months ago, I had to buy them cigarettes and give them Gatorade because they had no money. So if they try and tell me otherwise, it's kind of not going to fly. But also, it's a testament to who they are. These are people that are secure in who they are. And although they may have more money or have more opportunities, when they were cast for who they are. You don't change who you are.
Yeah.
So they're true to who they are, and that's it. And as long as they just keep being real, it's fine.
And I imagine they
And the audience will follow them if they like the evolution of who these characters are. I mean,
Yeah, and like Dom was just saying, they check each other. Like if one of them says something, they're all like, "Ooh, look at me, you're so fancy." You know what I mean? Like they all rag on each other and keep each other in check in that particular group, and that's kind of fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, but they also have to trust us. It's a two-way street. When that show started, the original name of that show was originally called Guidos, and I remember them being like, "What is this? What is this? What is this?" And I said, the one thing that I can tell you about this show is my intention is to highlight who you are and what you do this summer. You guys are a great bunch of kids, and it's going to be funny. If we do this right, people are going to laugh with you and not at you. My goal is not to make fun of you. It's to have people watch the show and have fun. And you know what? When I sat down with that cast before episode 1 premiered, I watched the first 9 episodes with them back to back, and I sat in the room with them and looked them dead in the eye. Because in the end, what happened on that show, what was edited down, was exactly what happened out there. And I think that's it. If you stay true to who you are and you come at it with a point of view, and I think that's important for both a network and a producer, you need a point of view. Don't be afraid. Don't try and middle line it. If you think something's fucked up, chances are it is, and that's it. If we're talking about it behind the scenes, everyone will talk about it when they're watching it.
And on that, I cannot top if you think it's fucked up.
Yeah.
What it is. So we're going to just end on that. I want to thank our illustrious panel. Excellent.
This season on Courtney and Kim Take New York. I'm excited to be single and do whatever the hell I want. Mr. West is in the building. She's working on the dance floor. Stand by. I'm gonna be the next soap opera star.
And action.
I wouldn't have done anything if he wouldn't have done it first. I'm like the most known actor of my day.
Dream actually reached out to me about you recording a song or something.
What? Yeah, the Dream asked me to record a song.
You ready?
I'm nervous.
Calm down. Quit playing.
When I say I'm 30, it's like the end of time. This could be the down and dirty party. We need a cake. This store needs to be our signature look.
We're slightly over budget, meaning 3 times.
This is not good. You are about to fall in love.
I'm taking this ring out and proposing to her.
You guys are getting married.
You lied to me, Kim. I find myself not being able to control my anger.
Stop it!
These are definitely times that make me want to have a cocktail.
What are you doing starting a fight? Do something! I feel so taken advantage of.
We are here to let them see for themselves that it's definitely not cool to come to prison.
They need to make a decision where they want to take their lives.
No, it's about you. It's about you being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I was raped in here. The cops can't stop it. The other inmates don't stop it. It just happens.
You are now in the belly of the beast. And make no mistake, Dorothy's, y'all's a long ways from Kansas, man.
You go out there and you're fresh meat to these inmates.
I can smell the fear in you. You saw.
You want to be left that way in a puddle of blood? Somebody calling home to your mom, telling them that they little baby just got their head busted.
I'm just scared. He can actually be in prison for life.
Beyond Scared Straight. New episodes Thursdays at 10, only on A&E.
My name's Chris Powell, and I specialize in incredible transformation.
This right here is the shirt I used to wear.
Now, for the next 365 days, Chris is taking on these super obese people for the transformation of their lives.
Resist!
Yes,
right,
fight,
push!
Every time that you tell me you can't do something, I'm going to prove to you that you can. I don't see it.
Okay, stop touching the thing. I'm a fighter. I won't fail.
What happens when things stop? What do?
Keep going.
That's it.
What are you thinking right now?
That I get to have my husband for more than just a few years.
In each and every episode, you'll experience the most important year in one person's life.
I've never been pushed like this. And the fact that you believe in me is just, I haven't felt this.
It's time for you to open your eyes for the first time. Dude, you have been dead for 26 years. It's time to wake up.
I'm gonna be thankful to you for the rest of my life. Seriously, this is for you. I'll do it for my freaking self.
For the first time ever, these people will claim their lives back.
My wish for you is to love yourself. This is for me.
For once in your life, this is all for you.